I don't understand. I don't understand why we think that the public is so educated that they're going to be like, this cycle, I'm going to avoid this crypto thing. No, that's dumb. That's like moronic. They're just going to do whatever's cool or like trendy. So if Trump makes it cool and trendy, you're going to have all the MAGA red hat wearing doofuses being like, crypto Trump, we love it. And then you're going to have like, Kamala being like, you know what? I think I like crypto now. And then you're going to have these NPC like Democrats like, yeah, you know what? Proof of stake is better than proof of work. And it's all it takes is like a little bit of, Hollywood marketing that, hey, this is kind of cool. And you get a bunch of normies being like, yes, cool. We like this.
Very nice.
That was hype.
Welcome back to Token Narratives with Bitcoin.com, where we discuss the biggest stories shaping the Bitcoin and cryptoverse. I'm Graham, repping the marketing function at Bitcoin.com. And with us, as usual, we have David, our gigabrained news product lead, and Corbin, Bitcoin.com CEO.
Rocket Man.
This week, our main topic will be a discussion about the crypto market cycle, including the age-old questions: where are we in this cycle? Is this time different? And we'll also be discussing cycle theories like, is this a short cycle, prolonged cycle, quiet cycle, or dare I say super cycle? Looking forward to getting into that discussion. But before we do that, I need to tell you about a very important development over here at Bitcoin.com, which is that we've just announced our first airdrop of Bitcoin.com's Verse token. Now, for those who don't know, Verse is Bitcoin.com's ecosystem token, which we launched back in December 2022. And the purpose of Verse is to help onboard newcomers to crypto by providing incentives and gamification, with the goal of educating them on the importance of self-custody and empowering them to seize more of the opportunities available in the Bitcoin and crypto space. So we've been building Verse steadily since launch, integrating it into the Bitcoin.com wallet app and the wider crypto ecosystem, deploying our multi-chain decentralized exchange, Verse Dex, and releasing a series of Web3 games like Verse Clicker and Verse Scratcher. Now, after almost 2 years, we think Verse is far along enough that it makes sense for us to really start drawing attention to it. So we put together a first airdrop proposal for the Verse community to vote on. By the way, we have a decentralized governance mechanism where Verse token holders can vote on proposals. And the weight of your vote is proportional to your Verse holdings. So anyway, the results of this vote were clear, with 99.6% voting in favor of this first airdrop. So that means we're going to be going ahead with this first airdrop. And as outlined in the proposal, this airdrop will be for active Ethereum users of the Bitcoin.com wallet app. And we'll be dropping more details on that soon. But I do want to emphasize that this is very likely to be just the first airdrop. We're going to be putting forth additional community proposals for voting. And it's likely that there will be more airdrops for other active users in the Bitcoin.com/Verse ecosystem. So actually, we've set aside 35% of the entire supply of Verse for ecosystem incentives. And so we have a lot of tokens to play with here. And one other thing is that we're also working on a quest-based rewards mechanism, which we'll be launching very soon in the Bitcoin.com wallet app. So look out for that.
Graham, that was a great explanation, man.
Thank you, sir.
That was well done.
All right.
Impressed. I'm
Nice.
impressed. I'm impressed by how much the team is getting done here. This is great.
Yeah, it is good stuff.
There was
Marketing guru.
there was a guy in our Verse Lounge, which is like, where you can come hang with the team. Us idiots are in there. Several other bag holders are all hanging out in there as well. But one guy was asking like, well, like what's the sauce? How do I am I getting in on this thing? And we're not revealing the sauce quite yet, but we can at least give you the main ingredient in the sauce. What is the first ingredient? And, you read through any salad dressing, it's always the primary one, right? Often in the US, it's corn syrup or some other disgusting thing that they feed people. But in ours, our main ingredient is the Bitcoin.com wallet. So go get that one. If you got that one, probably much more likely to be eligible. So, yeah.
For sure.
I would also add that we like in the Verse Lounge and on Discord, I and others talk about like what should we talk about in token narratives, right? So we do engage with that, and it's always fun to talk with people about their views on the cycle. For example, this week, and so yeah, if you're not in the lounge, if you're not active on Discord, do it. Get in there. We're there, and we'll give you a shout out if you say something intelligible on this podcast.
There's some dumb stuff in there sometimes too, so we can't guarantee anything.
This week there is nothing intelligible. No shout outs.
Yeah. It's a gateway drug though. That's kind of the big thing, right? It's like, I think everyone needs a gateway drug, and unfortunately a lot of the most popular coins have high fees, so they're not exactly the greatest gateway drug. So if we can get a gateway drug where people can get more children addicted to crypto via Verse, get them onboarded into like what is crypto, holding it, how to send it, how to receive it, how to use a DEX, how to stake it, how to play games with it. It makes dabbling in some of these other cryptocurrencies a little easier for folks. You've kind of got a foundation where you didn't lose your shirt spending $20 trying to learn this whole crypto ecosystem thing.
Yeah, one thing I actually forgot to mention in that spiel was our Verse Voyagers NFT collection, which is sold out. And it's pretty cool. Everyone on the team is rocking these as our PFPs, and it's pretty good stuff.
We should be tracking those like the re-rolls, because there's a cool feature in the NFT where you can pay to re-roll your traits, and I don't think we actually track that anywhere on the Voyagers NFT site. But yeah, in essence, if you buy one off OpenSea, you can go re-roll it as well. So you can spend a little bit and try to like get a new trait. So if you see like a NFT on OpenSea that's like 80% of what you want, but you're like, man, he's got a really lame helmet. What a loser. I want that cool helmet. You could go spend a bag and try to roll that one. It's all Chainlink VRF powered. So you have this verifiable randomness baked into interacting with the NFT contract to try to respin different traits. It does get more expensive the more traits you try to respin, so just be warned if you go down that path, you can be getting hit with some decent fees. I think I spent like $20 on one NFT just trying to roll something cool. So
is there an easy way to tell? Like on OpenSea how many times an NFT has been rolled? Because that would be.
I remember seeing something along those lines that some of the guys were talking about, like trying to find ones with low spin rates or something like that.
Exactly, because that's what you would want.
You'd want to look for the trait with a low number.
Yeah, which has some like rarities already. Maybe
re-roll count. Then you can see the filter there, Graham, in the bottom left.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's perfect. So that I would be looking for one that already has some good traits, rare traits, but also a low re-roll, because then you could really juice it.
Yeah, I spent a lot trying to get a green dude. I wanted a green dude, because green is cool.
The green flowing slime river.
Yep,
or
that was
the
it.
actual.
I wanted green with slime, and I got both. So that was
Yeah.
you know, I spent a little bit trying to get it, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
a success. So now I'm a green slimy dude.
All right,
You
should
got,
we move on to? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you guys see Pudgy Penguins? NFT was rocking on that Van Eck.
That was amazing. That was
quite
awesome.
interesting. I was surprised to see an NFT, you know, being mentioned in kind of normie mainstream stuff like banks and, you know, ETFs. It's quite cool. So
What
Also,
happened? It was mentioned where?
so
it was
Van Eck did like
yeah.
they did like a commercial for their ETF. I can't remember what their ETF is called, but an Ethereum ETF by Van Eck, and their advertisement for it was some Pudgy Penguin animations, and they were like rowing a boat and being cute little pudgies. And it was just kind of interesting to see NFTs kind of coming back into mainstream where they're not being just like roasted for being kind of ridiculous and expensive.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Also, I interviewed a while ago, but we're gonna have it come up. I interviewed the Pudgy Penguins Asia lead. So it was a really, really fun interview, and mad respect for what Pudgy Penguins has done and what they're doing.
Yeah. Nice little shill for Van Eck and Pudgy Penguins there. Go us.
All right, let's move on to the cycle discussion, shall we?
Let's do it.
David, you
All
want to
right.
set this up? We
Yeah, so, I
we
mean-
both stumbled across this tweet, I think, independently, and highlighted it
Me
as
first.
interesting. Okay, I'll give you that. So go ahead and explain the gist of it, please.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this kind of blew up on crypto Twitter this past week. This idea that maybe this cycle is a quote unquote quiet cycle, and you guys can correct me if you interpreted this differently, but the basic idea is that last cycle, everyone got destroyed. They got burned hard. Retail got burned hard. Celebrities, insiders got burned because of the massive scams, FTX, Three Arrows, you name it. And so this cycle, the cycle that we're currently in, those people are not coming back. Not only that, but it made so many like mainstream headlines, right? That retail is not going to touch crypto this cycle. They're just going to be staying out, right?
Just
just
anecdotally, that's been my experience so far. When I bring up crypto to like non-crypto friends, it's just been like, nah, don't want to hear it.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in, New York Times constantly, Newsweek, CNN last cycle talking about FTX and how it's a scam and all this kind of very, very public fraud. I mean, what is it? What's his name? Patriots quarterback? Tom Brady. Tom Brady, even years later, he just had a roast and they were roasting him about this stuff, right? How much money he lost.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? Like it was like I don't know if it's a high school graduation or a university graduation where some guy was like up on stage being like, "Let me tell you guys about Bitcoin and crypto."
I did.
And
I remember that. Yeah.
The booze,
and there was a lot of booze from like the Zoomer crowd of like these like Gen Z kids that are like, I mean, it's possible. It's possible they're just like, "Hey, dude, not the right time. You know, like let us have our moment of like, you know, kumbaya or whatever." Or they're just like, "Crypto's kind of lame, dude. Like, what are you doing? You know, quit being a dork."
Yeah, it's almost like we're back in the scam years, right? Like 2017-ish. But anyway, so retail's not coming back this cycle, goes this theory. However, institutions are buying finally, right? Your Larry Finks and Jamie Dimon this week, right? I don't know if you saw that. It was pretty crazy. He did a 180 and talked about it. They're buying. And they're going to buy how institutions buy, which is methodically, slowly. They're not going to just like jump in. And so we're not going to get these like parabolic rises. It's going to kind of slowly grind up. But they're also not going to sell. right? This is not how they do this kind of thing. So you're going to see this slow kind of not so hype, fun, even not as fun, grind up. But retail is largely going to sit this one out. And so what you'll see is, like, for example, crypto Twitter or crypto communities won't have massive growth, right? You're not going to see this influx of new people coming in and kind of charging up these communities and everything. However, you're going to see significant price rise, and hence quiet cycle, right? We're in a bull cycle. So you're going to go up. However, it's not going to really touch mainstream, and it's not going to be as volatile. And I think that's the basic idea.
Yeah, this theory really resonated with me, especially at this line here where he's like, for crypto insiders, for crypto natives, it's going to seem deafening. Like, oh, there's so much stuff happening, and that's what it does seem like to us, right? Like, crypto's in politics. Yeah, central banks are like buying, like, all the news that we see, right? But that's only we're the only ones who see that. The normies, the newcomers aren't seeing that news. It's like nothing's happened. Crypto, oh, that's that thing that died 3 years ago with FTX.
The muggles, they're just not going to be aware.
I think it's a stupid theory. I don't buy it.
Well, good, at least somebody does.
No, well, okay. There's very few things that get people to move, right? And people are pretty simple. It's like greed, sex, bananas or food, or, you need some consumption. There's just like the basic needs for, what is it, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think for the most part, the greed bone is part of that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of just like feeling safe and feeling protected. And if your money's going to shit, you're probably going to be like, maybe I got to do something. And it does kind of feel like maybe if it's not cool anymore, but it's necessary to not lose your shirt, you're still going to do it, even if it's kind of like, dude, like, finance is lame. Like, a Zoomer who's like thinking about like a Roth IRA or like a, what do they call it? A tax-free savings account. That's what we call them in Canada, a TSFA. They're super lame. But like, kids aren't like hyped up over TSFAs. They're lame. They're extremely lame. Like, money is lame. It's not cool ever to talk about money or like savings or mortgages. If you're a kid at a party and you're like, hey dude, want to do a line of cocaine? And they're like, you know what? I got a meeting tomorrow with my investment analyst over at TD Ameritrade, and we're going to go over my investment strategy. So I think I really should probably keep a straight head, for that. They're going to be like, lame. Like, well, I don't understand. I don't understand why we think that the public is so educated that they're going to be like, this cycle, I'm going to avoid this crypto thing. No, that's dumb. That's like moronic. They're just going to do whatever's cool or like trendy. So if Trump makes it cool and trendy, you're going to have all the MAGA red hat wearing doofuses being like, crypto Trump, we love it. And then you're going to have like, Kamala being like, you know what? I think I like crypto now. And then you're going to have these NPC like Democrats like, yeah, you know what? Proof of stake is better than proof of work. And it's all it takes is like a little bit of, Hollywood marketing that, hey, this is kind of cool. And you get a bunch of normies being like, yes, cool. We like this. I don't think it's, I don't think the general public is so educated to be like, this time is different. They're not going to get me. We're absolutely going to get you. We're coming for you.
Yeah, you're probably right.
First of all,
this talk that we're having right now, this is classic, like, bottom talk, right? Like capitulation talk, right? Like, it's not happening. Right?
Weak, pure weak, just paper hands.
A couple comments for me. First of all, Corbin is showing his boomer tendencies by not knowing that Zoomers prefer Adderall to cocaine. So that's a big miss there. No Zoomer worth his salt is like, they hear cocaine like, ew, you mean that
sounds so old
drug? Yeah. Oh God, pop an Addy. Anyway, I largely agree with you, Corbin. I think I think we have to break all times highs in a big way. Like once I think price is everything, and so once we get to like 100, like 90, right on Bitcoin, 90,000, 100,000, we'll start seeing these like FOMO headlines, and as you said, greed will kick in, and you'll just start getting that reflexivity. But I do think until then, it'll be kind of quiet, right? Like it won't really be anything, and you've seen that even up to now, right? Like we had a run up from um, whatever 20s all the way up to now, and yeah, we're barely we're barely below. We barely touched all time highs, and it's just going to be quiet, I think, until it gets really the price gets really big, and then you'll start to see uh, people come back into it. I think is that would be my base case.
Yeah, like I saw briefly during the meme coin mania a few just, and this is anecdotal, of course, a few friends, old friends, just reaching out. Hey, what about this Bitcoin thing? What's a good coin I should buy? And that tends to be kind of a signal that maybe there's still some public normie interest in here. And I don't know, maybe we'll hear more of that soon. Who knows? Maybe more Van Eck, marketing, advertising, you know, installation software into NPC brains will be enough to kind of get people to say, maybe I should look into this. They're talking about this a lot on CNN, and maybe I'm stupid for not having any. I don't know.
The crazy thing is, like I think we mentioned at the end of last week, this idea that the institutions are coming, which has been around since the spot Bitcoin ETFs started trading, has largely not been true, right? And you had BlackRock's, I forgot, CTO said that at some Coinbase event. And then last week, ETF analyst said, well, now they actually are starting to kind of dip their toes a little bit. So the institutions haven't even really kind of deployed in a big way yet. So, Van Eck is putting Pudgy Penguins ads out. BlackRock is obviously pumping this to like RAs and other institutions and different kind of pension funds and stuff. And then you have like Jamie Dimon now, right? He was one of the biggest holdouts. He is starting to. He's kind of just suddenly changed his mind. Didn't he say like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like, "I'll never touch Bitcoin. It's crap. It's absolutely dog shit." And then now, like a week later, he's like,
or whatever.
Yeah. And so, I mean, again, I think that I think that we have most of the upside ahead of us. I would say, but I could be wrong. Now, the interesting thing then is this cycle different than last cycle? I mean, every cycle is different, but is it really going to be that different, right? And I think largely it's not going to be that different. I think we're going to have like a giant blow off top eventually, and then a pretty volatile drawdown. I don't know what you guys think, but
So no super cycle.
I don't think so. I think it'll be the drawdown will be less than it has been. You won't have like an 80% drawdown because if
in the majors,
in the majors, if the institutions step in, then that'll dampen the downside. But when retail jumps in, you'll still have these kind of like insane rallies that really can't sustain themselves.
I think it's gonna. I mean, every cycle is pretty similar but different. There's always tweaks to it, right? Like last cycle had some NFT mania in it. This cycle's got some meme coin mania in it. There's still like a core piece that feels like it's like the spine of a cycle or something like that. Like I was listening to Elvis Presley this morning, little Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Great rendition, right? But then there's also like the Willie Nelson version. Incredible, both totally different vibes, but they got that same core piece to it. So I think that's what's going to happen with all these cycles and stuff like that. It's just going to be like, yeah, different but similar cameos or covers.
Well, that's the first time I've heard crypto cycles compared to Willie Nelson and Elvis songs. So
the goats.
That's impressive.
Well, let me ask you guys some questions about kind of this cycle. So, um, one idea for the current cycle we're in is the spot Bitcoin ETFs kind of pulled forward a lot of buying or growth in the market, and so this kind of lull we've had in the middle of the year is from that excitement, and then now we've kind of been in the doldrums, but eventually this is going to run out, and I think we're probably in the middle of that right now, and we'll kind of probably start to continue on an upward trend. I don't know if you find that appealing at all. I think that probably did happen. I imagine that a lot of the growth that we saw at the beginning of the year was like that.
Yeah, I mean, typically you don't see a big run up until after the halving, right? And we saw it before the halving this cycle, and the theory is that it's because of the ETF. So,
well,
I buy
what's
that.
the countdown? What's the countdown on this? Because I remember we had previously spoken about how the cycles tend to begin ripping 500 days post BTC halving. Like, what's the timeline? Where are we at? Are we 500? Are we over? Are we under? Are we just
Is
kind
it
of like
500?
I don't know if it's 500 days, but I might be an idiot.
I feel like it's less than a year after the halving that you really start to get that ramp up.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, I think the other thing we haven't considered with this idea of is this cycle different? Yeah, like institution might be the leading buyers right now, but there's going to be some people that are sticking it out, make a bank, buy a Lambo, and then there's the YouTube videos of how did this guy make all his money, and it's some idiot being like, yeah, I traded Retardio and went to the moon or whatever, and then it gets people being like, if he can make it, I can make it. People are kind of like they're laggard traders, typically. The sad reality is you see things rip, and then the retail the retail normies are like, oh, it's ripping, I should buy, which is kind of ironically the worst time to buy. But that's kind of like hype begets hype or something like that.
yeah. So our financial advice here is buy now, I think. If you haven't already bought.
No, buy 6 months ago.
Or if you can't afford 6 months ago, or do the time travel thing. I mean, just nothing wrong with the classic dollar cost average strategy. It's boring, it's safe, but it's kind of it's the it's the only way to average out your buying price.
One thing that is definitely different about this cycle is, and we've touched on this before, is the almost like the separation of meme coins from the typical like cycle, right? You'll have Bitcoin move, and then Ethereum, and then like the large cap altcoins, mid caps, small cap shit coins, right? Like you have this that worked for the previous 2 cycles that I've been in, but this one so far, meme coins have kind of just been a separate thing that have kind of done their own thing.
Well, that's very similar to the NFT trading market too, right? Like memes, like the NFT market of last cycle was kind of that too, where things were, it had its own trading cycles, and it had its own vibe, and it had some outrageous valuations, but like that was kind of where all the meme energy was. And now it's kind of left the NFT meme energy and moved into just complete degenerate, tokenized
But
memes.
in both cases, those markets didn't really heat up until after the majors already ripped, and that this time as well.
Well, but the majors. I mean, Bitcoin has ripped a little bit, but Ethereum hasn't, right? Like you look at ETH BTC, it hasn't ripped at all. Meanwhile,
well, the U.S. dollar price of ETH certainly has ripped in the last year since its bottom. It's up like almost 3x.
Yeah,
I mean, in a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah,
right?
but I think a lot of folks are still looking at the BTC ETH ratio, right? So you compare that, and it's still kind of like, I haven't really done too much.
Yeah, or now also recently the ETH Sol graph has been kind of a hot topic, and it looks like Sol is about to break out on that as well. So ETH. Maybe this is why ETH people have been so. Not maybe. This is definitely one of the reasons why ETH people have been so whiny, and kind of maybe emasculated. Not being able to take jokes and whatnot, because their coin of choice is kind of, by comparison, lagged.
Yeah, I think crypto communities tend to turn into whiny little bitches when they aren't making money for a long period of time, and it's very off-putting. Like if you're just diving into a community and you're like, everyone's so depressed and terrible, kind of like, do I want to be here? Do I want to be part of this?
Well, Corbin, it's even worse in this case because, as Graham pointed out, ETH people have made money. They just haven't made as much money as the others.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are you even whining? You're still making money. You're just you're looking over the fence at Bitcoin and Sol, who are going up.
Can we talk for a minute about the Kraken Mt. Gox distribution? I think this is pretty interesting and important. It finally happened. We had almost 50,000 BTC distributed to the creditors on Kraken. This is just a few days ago, and nothing happened.
What bothers me the most about this whole question of the what's happening? Why? I mean, maybe you guys know the answer here. Why did Mt. Gox only share BTC and BCH? Like if in theory, if you've got those OG BTC coins, there's several other forks in there that technically you could have been entitled to, or technically that they could have broken out. So they could have broken out Bitcoin Gold. They could have broken out Bitcoin SV. They could have broken out eCash, but they didn't. They only broke out BTC and BCH. And
yeah, that's disappointing.
If I was like a creditor, I'd be like, I want my full value, you SOBs. Give me it all. Like there's clearly some more. So like who's profiting off that? Because like whoever controls those keys has access to all of that value that's inside that UTXO that you could in theory break out and go like have a great weekend with.
And if you're the like let's say BSV community, do you want those coins to be distributed?
Well, maybe
or
that's
not?
part of. Maybe that's why we don't hear much about it, because everyone's like, sure hope they don't dump on us. Like we're pretty small cap,
But maybe it's almost like an airdrop, right? Like we've activate. You could look at it that way as well, like from a marketing perspective.
If I was a creditor, I'd be banging that drum. Give me everything. Give me my eCash. Give me my BSV. Give me that bit gold or whatever nonsense is still baked up in those old BTC coins.
So I just wanted to say that I think it's quite bullish here that these Mt. Gox coins were finally distributed and Bitcoin did not crash. But I do want to say that I think that well, I think that the result of this, my theory is the result of this is going to be that you're going to have a slightly stronger ceiling, like a harder ceiling on Bitcoin, because these bag holders have been forced bag holders for over a decade, right? They're not going to sell right the minute they get their coins, but I feel like these people are going to be looking. There's just going to be a lot of extra people looking to get out, time the cycle, get out at the top.
Well, the other thing
that'll put a damper on this top, I think.
There was like secondary markets for claims, like Mt. Gox claims. So it's also like, I don't know what the percentage is, but some percentage of all of that, say newly accessible liquidity potentially was already purchased by a diamond hand holder somewhere in the last few years from these like secondary market claims, where they were doing like, you could purchase Mt. Gox claims for like, I don't know if it was like 50 cents on the dollar or what it was, but a cheaper than whatever the current spot rate was. So anyone who was like, man, I just want to get whatever I can get, I'll take whatever I can get. These guys are willing to buy my claim off me. I'll sell whatever. It's already dead to me, And some folks did sell via those alt markets.
Yeah, well,
so
you'd think that those people who, let's say they got it at a discount, they'd be even more likely to sell now. They're like, well, I got those at half
I
price, so
I think though that the Gox claimants are kind of a self-selecting group. They're probably more hardcore, right? Because they purchased Bitcoin back in the day, so they probably are true believers, and so the likelihood that they'll sell is lower, I'd imagine.
well, but I mean, life hits you in the face. Like I'm sure a lot of these people like want to ride off into the sunset and get their yacht, uh, cash out, right?
Yeah,
Like
but they probably know we're in a bull cycle right now. Like, I don't
exactly, that's
know.
what I'm saying. So they're not going to sell right now, but they're going to be
No,
looking to time the top.
I want to know
could
what
be.
happened to
So
Colin.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the story about Colin? I think his name was Colin. He was a nice guy, kind of a depressing dude though. He was like Welsh. Did you ever see the photos of like this guy with like a Mount Gox, give me my money back, and he's like a cardboard sign. And he's like in front of Mark
yeah,
Karpellis's like
Oh
face,
yeah,
and
you mentioned him. Yeah, you
yeah,
mentioned him.
he was in Tokyo all the time. I don't know if he lived there or what, but he was always at the BTC meetups, and him and I would chat and have some beers. Yeah, you might have to look. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, super.
man.
He was pretty miserable because he was kind of like owed a lot of money. I think like he's. I hope to God he got his bags back and he rode off into the sunset because he was so miserable. He deserves a W, man. But yeah, if you're out there, man, good luck. I hope you're doing good. Hope you got your bag, man.
All right. So you guys want to talk about the ETH ETF for a minute, or anything else to say on Mt. Gox?
No, I just concur.
No.
I think the fact that the price didn't go down when that happened is definitely bullish.
Yeah. So this week we of course had the ETH ETF finally start trading, and just pulling up some numbers here. The first day we had 106 million in net inflows, and the second day 133 million in net outflows, for a 2-day net of minus 26. Now this is 26 million. This is people withdrawing from the grayscale, where they've sort of been locked up. Their ETH has been locked up. And so that's where how it can be negative, right? Even though this ETF product just launched.
And I mean, a lot of these sellers probably are locking in pretty good profits, not just on the appreciation of ETH, but in the what's it called, the discount that they bought on that trust. So
has there been any news yet regarding any of these ETH ETFs being able to access like the staked yield and pay that out to the ETF holders? Like,
no,
because in essence, that would be kind of the sweet sauce for this ETF. Would be like, hey, if your ETF can also pay dividends, people are going to be like, ooh, that's a juicy little boomer alpha.
What I heard is that that's not going to happen until Trump gets into office and he outs the current people in the SEC, because it's too much of an ask now. Like,
it's too high testosterone of a play. They couldn't handle it in this current environment.
I personally don't think that's going to make.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to make a difference anyway. People don't buy ETH for 3% yield, right?
I don't know, man.
But
boomers love a good dividend. Yeah,
institutions do, and boomers do. And apparently what you might see is that institutional clients that have access to staked ETH products, like via Coinbase or something like that, they'll go that route rather than through the ETF itself, because they get the exposure to ETH, plus they get the dividend, plus they get the interest. So
I think the other thing is, and at least I've seen some news about this in Canada. Just everything's toxic waste up in Canada. Just don't go there. But everything sucks there, and then as a result, all of the institutions are like, where do we even put money? Because everything sucks here. This is like a shitty country. There's no GDP growth. This is like, how do we even make money in this place? And
aren't you going there in like a couple weeks?
Yeah, I have nothing. I'm very excited. I'm going to say really great things when I'm there. Because if I don't, I'll probably be locked up and have my bank account seized. So yeah, I'll love Canada when I'm in Canada, but while I'm outside of Canada, huge toilet. Yeah, just a giant toilet.
Full disclosure, Corbin is Canadian by birth.
Yeah, I've emancipated
As are
myself.
you.
So that makes
Graham.
it more
As
acceptable.
are you.
Yeah.
Graham and I are actually from the same hometown, and we didn't even know each other, which is kind of the weirdest thing ever. Yeah,
it is weird.
He's a dirty South Ender, though. Disgusting. Got their chapters. They read books down there.
Yeah.
Fancy
Regina.
boys.
Regina for the win.
The Queen City. Yeah.
So, a little more detail on this ETF, which I wanted to point out here, which is that, okay, so day one, the Ethereum ETF did $1 billion in volume. By comparison, the day one volume for the BETH ETF was 7.7 billion. So that's what, like a 15% of the amount, which I think is in line with what people were predicting. The predictions were like between 10 and 30% it would do. So that's sort of in line. And day two, 950 million for ETH, and day two for Bitcoin was 2.3 billion. So that's even closer, or even higher, right, on the Ethereum. At day three, 848 million for ETH and 1.8 billion for Bitcoin. Now, the other thing that I thought was quite interesting is that it looks like definitely the Bitcoin ETF, but also probably based on these initial numbers, the ETH ETF. These are going to be by far the most successful ETFs that TradFi has ever released, and successful in terms of the volume and therefore like the trading fees that they can generate. So I think that's pretty bullish.
What do you make of the fact that these ETH ETFs, like the ratio? I would say that just the ratio of buy volume versus the ratio of, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it market cap, the ratio of the price, does kind of make me think, interesting. Like for an ETH, if you were an ETH bull, you might look at that and say, how's that work?
I'm not following you. Can you?
ETH ratio versus BTC. What is it? It's like 69. What's a BTC price right now? 60,
in terms
65K?
Of the market cap. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just looking at the market cap and things like that.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at that.
So you could say
versus,
that ETH is getting more volume
proportional
by
to
its
that.
market, proportionally, yeah.
Yeah. For me, at least, is one reason why I'm kind of like, prices are down, 8% on ETH post this ETF thing. I'm still like, I'll keep holding this bag. It's fine.
Yeah, and
this is fine.
Possibly add to your bag, because the theory is, right, with BTC, with the BTC ETF, it took 2 to 3 weeks to absorb that gray scale sell pressure. If the same thing plays out this time, we should start seeing a run up in the price of ETH. Probably the market's going to front run that, so I doubt it'll go much lower than what it already has. I was kind of
thinking, like, if there's probably a few other people thinking along those same lines of like, well, is this an opportunity to catch it before the leg up, or is it priced in at this point? I don't know.
Also, apparently, ETH is not apparently ETH is less liquid, right? So presumably, a smaller amount of buying should affect the price a lot more. So you have that as well.
Yeah,
29%, I think, is the number of the amount of ETH that's currently staked. So that you're taking an already smaller market cap and sort of kneecapping 30% of it as well. Yep.
I'm bullish ETH. I'm bullish ETH. I'm very bullish ETH. I think
just
it'll
not
do
their
well.
Community. And you just think their community is weak, but the
right now the community is a little whiny. It reminds me of Bitcoin in like 2017 when they were getting all like having their panties in a wad about Bitcoin versus ETH. It's just like, guys, relax.
2017.
Being a part of a community is kind of lame. Like
the ICO era, 2017. ETH was kind of new, right, versus Bitcoin. Yeah. So a lot of those Bitcoin people were.
Yeah. I feel like last cycle was peak ETH bullishness.
Did you guys see Pump was like on the news, like downplaying the ETH ETF and was kind of like, poo-pooing ETH? Like there is still that. Like the BTC people still do that, man. They're like they're also little whiny bitches. It's kind of the same thing of just everyone's talking their bag, and they'll do everything they can to like prevent another, I don't know, project from like climbing. It's just like it's a weird vibe, man. Being a part of a community is really lame. Communities are stupid. Communities are so close to communism.
Except
don't
our
go all in.
community.
Join our community, but every other community is extremely
our
lame.
community is so good because
we're meta community.
That's how we think about
we know
it. Exactly.
It's lame.
Yeah, I think you see that. So in all seriousness, I think you see that in a lot of the successful NFT projects this cycle, right? They took on this mantle of this is lame, speculation is stupid, you're not going to make money through this NFT, and those have been the most successful NFT projects, where their community is very much centered not around price, like explicitly you're an idiot and lame if that's what you're focused on. And so that is a recipe for success, I think.
All right. We've got 10 minutes left, a little more than 10 minutes left this week. Is there anything anyone would like to share or discuss?
Yeah, I mean, since we're already on this topic, I think we could jump to the Sol versus ETH thing that's kind of been in play for a couple weeks now, but it's getting even more heated in the past week, I would say. It's been all over crypto Twitter. And this was kind of a shining example of it earlier this week. This is a Sol versus ETH DEX volume, and showing for the first time that Sol has more volume than ETH does. Now some of this is slightly disingenuous because this is all based on the ETH main chain, and if you total up the various ETH L2s, then ETH has more DEX volume. But in this case, just Sol versus ETH. I think one of the graphs shows it breaks it out across the different chains. There it is. Yeah.
I would be curious to know what type of assets that the volume is comprised of on Sol. Like, is it just stable coin?
Meme coins.
Is it meme coins, or is it stable to stable? Like, how much of it is stable to stable? Yeah, like, because it's possible.
I imagine very little stables volume on Sol, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really trust a lot of data until because you could bloat the shit out of that volume with, especially a low fee chain like that. You could just have bots going from whatever their USDT to USDC is, and and then you're just like printing volume and saying, "Look how cool we are, guys! We're way better than ETH. And we got a purple line."
We got to clip that, please. Clip that. I want that to be a 15-second TikTok clip. Bitcoin CEO take on Sol versus ETH. Anyway, I agree, and I imagine that most of the Sol volume is like bots trading, and then because ETH has a higher transaction fee, then less bots will presumably be trading on ETH.
Only whale bots.
My point about this particular tweet. My point about this particular tweet is not that it's legitimate. It's more so that it's illustrating kind of a fight between Sol and ETH that has been taking place, and there's been some funnier stuff that I saw on crypto Twitter, like Ansem. He's really good at baiting ETH people, and he was baiting the hell out of them this past week. So funny, just saying completely crazy, strident things about Sol, and then getting like ETH people to take it seriously. Very, 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 very funny. But yeah, I mean, I think that we're kind of seeing the same thing that happened. So Graham, I was saying, like in 2017, ETH was new enough that the Bitcoin people thought there was no, like, it wasn't legitimate, and so they were really upset about ETH's success. By 2021, there wasn't that. ETH had enough legitimacy that it wasn't so, it didn't have the same kind of like feel. But for me, the Sol ETH thing now feels like 2017. Sol has this kind of still like, is it legitimate? Is it going to really be as big as it should be? Is it going to take over ETH? And so the ETH people are just like, oh, no, of course not. This is centralized. And so you have that kind of like,
I think they fear losing the upside traders, right? Because there's the traders that are just looking at what has the max upside here. BTC, it's never going to rip as much as a shit coin, right? So you get one shit coin that suddenly isn't shit, and it's like got utility and it has a community and it starts ripping and it's got some hype. There's much higher upside potential there than just being a normie orange coin trader. And I think some of those different projects, they want to keep that segment of buyer and not lose it, and I think that's why they fight over it. It's weird.
Also, if you look at price, Sol has gone up like by percentage a lot more than ETH has. In this past week, when we've had this drawdown, right, in traditional markets that then kind of came back into crypto markets, Sol has by percentage gone down much less compared to ETH. So I mean, you get some feelings that way about it. I think both will do well. I think both will do great, and I have, I support both. Both are my bags. So
talk them, David.
Bags. But I got love for both. It's just weird to see these people fight over it so much.
What's your guys' crazy bets this cycle? Is there any? What are the up and coming? Like, what's your 5%? Like, this is a stupid bet. I don't know if it's going anywhere. Do you guys have any?
I know what Grams is. I know what Grams is.
No, I already paper handed my retardio.
Did you? Oh no.
Paper hands, man. It's too bad.
Did you sell at the bottom, bro, or did it at least?
I sold at a pathetic profit. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I know.
Damn. Sorry to hear that, man. I know you were really excited about that one.
Yeah, they've really captured the zeitgeist.
What happened? What made you go from being like, yeah, I love this one too?
Probably just like my air conditioning bill.
Something basic.
It came in, and I was like, "Oh man, how am I going to afford this? All right, I'm not selling my I'm not selling my Bitcoin bags. I guess the retardio's got to go."
Yeah, I think
that retardio.
That's Gresham's law, man. It's like, what's the softest currency you got? You're not selling the gold, man. I hate that Bitcoiners are kind of right about that one, but like, there is something very true about like, what assets do you value the most? You don't tend to want to sell. You get rid of the soft currencies first, and then you kind of eke away. You say, I don't want to get rid of that one. That one's kind of nicer. The other one, whatever, it's fine. Bronze.
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
My crazy takes. I think NFTs will come back eventually. So I'm dabbling in NFTs, and I'm probably just going to lose everything. I'll probably go to zero. But I think that because they've been beaten down so much, there's a lot. I mean, if they come back, they'll come back hard.
Are we talking on Ethereum?
Ethereum, yeah, but I would like to get some Sol NFTs. I think because of the meme coin stuff that's been on Sol, I think there might be some opportunity there. It's just so hard to like keep up with all this stuff. So I don't know any kind of good gems on NFTs and Sol, but I've been asking around. So
I've been really lousy at trading just like randoms this cycle. Yeah. Like last cycle, I was kind of, man, I don't know. This cycle definitely feels different in some ways. And I dabbled in the meme coins. I announced it on Token Narratives that I'm done with it, and I've been true, been faithful to my word. Haven't touched the meme coin trading since I had to get out. Just not worth it.
Maybe
wasn't financially right.
Dude, I got smoked on DMAGA. I got smoked on DMAGA this week. Oh my!
I almost jumped into that. Yeah,
I did jump in, and it's basically a zero for me.
So thank you. Correct me if I'm wrong. DMAGA was also being promoted by Donald Trump's son. or something like that.
DMAGA, I think Elon Musk changed his profile picture to a DMAGA color thing.
Okay.
And then you know what? I don't know anything about it, so you might be right. I just jumped on the bandwagon, lost my shirt.
I don't typically research before I buy meme coins, so I understand what you mean. It's kind of like, this seems like it might go up. This made me giggle. Let's buy it.
Yeah.
It's a tough world out there.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard a really interesting theory actually that meme coins can sort of replace Polymarket in a way. Like, rather than bet on the outcome of an event, like you just get in on a meme coin associated with that event early, thinking that okay, this event is gonna like have legs.
Yeah.
Bowden is 0 now, right? It's zeroed out. I'm pretty sure.
Did it go actually to 0 or just to kind of 0? Because he's not dead yet, so there's probably like a little bit of juice left in this thing.
In theory,
maybe he's got some judo moves. You know,
I think it's near 0. When he robotically went on video and announced that he's stepping aside, I think it.
Did you guys see the down. AI Biden announcement? That was just chef's kiss. Like,
oh yeah,
that was great. If I think if he had done that, that would have been might have got some more folks back on his team. Yeah. But I do like the idea of using a meme coin as an alt prediction market. There is something kind of cool about that. Maybe that's how you solve this whole Middle East crisis. Let Israel and Palestine duke it out in meme coin wars instead of like blowing up each other. Yeah.
What about you, Corbin? What are your bets? Crazy bets this cycle? Do you have any?
Honestly, I'm kind of a boring buyer these days. I got some BTC, I got some ETH, I got some BCH. I'm betting still on on an ETF potential. I got some Xano. After speaking to the Xano guys, I'm like, yeah, I'll take a position there. I got my verse bags. What else have I been dabbling with? I just bought some Tau. Some BitTensor.
Me too. Yes.
I don't know if that's going to be the thing, but I don't know. The chart looked fun. I don't know, man. I'm really boring these days. I just kind of.
Did you get that? Did you get that on chain?
Yeah. Yes.
Or through. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, it could be the case that becoming the CEO of Bitcoin.com has made your shitcoin researching cut into your shitcoin researching time a little bit.
It's very likely. Very likely. Yeah. I count on all of you guys to feed me the shitcoins. Tell me what to buy and I'm in. Just point me in a direction, guys. Tell me where to go.
All right. Let's wrap it up, yeah?
Let's
okay. So thanks for joining, gentlemen, and thank you to everyone who joined the live stream. And thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Token Narratives.
You guys get in the Verse Lounge. Talk to us.
Yeah.
Help us decide what we're going to talk about next week.